Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and this is my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. I'm really excited about this episode, and I know that I don't know if it's going to get the viewers that I'm hoping it will have. And I'm just hoping that people will be patient enough or curious enough to just to click play and take a look at this. I have a series of Chinese pens. Now, some of these pens have gone and are being criticized as being knockoffs, etc., and I don't want the community to think that I condone any breaches of copyright or of patents or of any intellectual property. Okay, I'm a lawyer by profession, and I wouldn't advocate it, and I wouldn't recommend it. Having said that, I don't want to get involved, and I don't want to get into a big argument, nor do I want any comments about why am I suggesting or why even promoting any of these Chinese pens. The objective here is not to promote anything. My objective is that I bought a series of Chinese pens, all of which cost me, I believe, less than $30, $40 Canadian. Okay, each one of them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pens, and I'm going to be looking at, you saw my video. What interests me the most are the nibs inside of these pens. The pens are not the most exciting in the world. There's maybe even quality control issues. I'm not an engineer. I have not looked at every pen to see whether any screw is loose or whether there's any flaws or any of that. That's not what I'm looking at. I remember one of my viewers said, you know, you can buy the most expensive pen in the world, but if the nib isn't up to scratch, and if you have to constantly tune it, and maybe even risk voiding the warranty because you're tuning it on your own, or you're not sending it to a nib master, a meister. I mean, look, I don't have to spend $700 on the pen and then need to send my nib to somebody so they can tune it, and that would cost me another $150. I mean, I don't need that. It should be tuned when it comes in. All of these nibs in these pens are just fabulous. The pens cost me less than any Jowo, Bock, or even Schmidt nib. Okay, almost. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but just by a few dollars. Okay, if I can buy a Jowo with a number 8 size nib, medium sized, okay, at $15, that's the pen, and it includes the nib. I mean, I can't buy a Jowo nib for $15 Canadian. So, you know what? That's my plan. My plan is, let's take a look at these nibs and see if they rival the German nibs, or any nib for that matter. Okay, and my conclusion will be that they do, and here's why. Stay tuned. So here are the pens that we're going to be looking at. I've got two Jinhao's X159. I've got the Majohn P136, the Asvine V126, and the Asvine V169, the Fuliwen 017, the Hongdian 960, the Kaigelu 316A, the new version, the Majohn C4, a Penbbs 266, a Jinhao Centennial, and an original version Kaigelu 316. Those are the pens we'll look at. So let's see how they write. Okay, we're back with the writing sample. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just a quick writing sample for each pen. And of course, concentrating on the nib. The pens themselves, you know, yes, they look alike. They are lookalikes of many other more more expensive pens. But let's take a look at these nibs. I got to tell you, They've come a long way. I remember several years ago buying Chinese pens. The nibs were just absolute garbage. I couldn't even switch some of them out of the pens so I can get any other pens, any other nibs in them. And now you can switch them, and you know what? There's no need to. So let's first take this. Actually, I'm going to take the Jinhao X159, but I'll take the black first, okay? And then the black, because it has a fine nib, and I'll compare that to the medium nib in a second. So this is the Jinhao. This is the new X159, the one that's much lighter. This is the black. Okay. As far as the nib is concerned, it's a Jinhao number 8 fine nib. I mean, they got a size 8 nib, you know, in a $15 pen. You can't beat that. I mean, I've got to find a way how to put this nib somewhere else. I mean, seriously, and I'm going to order a bunch of them and start putting them in other pens. So that's the Jinhao number 8 fine nib. Really smooth, constant. Okay, I can just lightly, or it's got a little spring and I can get more out of it. Really wet. I mean, you can't beat this nib. I gotta tell you, I'm not sure that Jowo, or even Bock, or even Schmidt make a better fine nib. I really have my sincere doubts. Let me draw a line just to show you how constant. Just bear with me. My lines are squiggly because I tremble, but constant, smooth, wet. That's the Jinhao Fine. Now I've got a Jinhao. I mean, this Jinhao here with the medium nib. Again, this is the new X159. This is the blue. The nib is a Jinhao number 8 medium nib, and it comes in dual tone. You can get it in a dual tone, or you can get it in a single tone. I wish my camera would cooperate. There it is. It's a medium. I mean, it's just fabulous. Talk about smooth. Look at this. Look at this. My squiggly lines look straight. I mean, it's so smooth. Very easy, and it's got some spring to it. And I can get some line variation. Very wet. I mean, look how wet this nib is, and look how smooth it is, and how regular. I mean, it doesn't skip a beat. How can you beat this, guys? I'm telling you, a lot of people are upset. I know this pen looks like my Mont Blanc the 149, and they're trying to copy, and I know all of that. But you know what? Their nibs are fabulous. So you know what? Get with it, Jinhao, Bock, and Schmidt. A competition is coming. Competition is coming. I'm sorry, but it's there. This is the Majohn Moonman P136. This nib is amongst the sweetest and smoothest nibs I have in my collection. It's a Majohn Stub. I mean, they now have a stub. Where is it? Come on, camera, cooperate. It's not cooperating. I apologize. I'm going to get there. There it is. It's a stub. Do Do you believe it? It's a stub. Now they got a stub. They've got a stub, a 1.1 stub. 1.1. I mean, this thing is so smooth. Check it out. Light or dark, I can even get more out of it. And look how wet this is. I mean, guys, I know this little P136 looks like the Montblanc 146, but you know what? With this kind of nib, I'm going to take the nib and try to put it somewhere else. I mean, it's simple. I mean, look at this. It's smooth. It's absolutely constant. It doesn't skip a beat. There's no heart start. There's none of it. So that's the Jinhao and the Moonman. Now, let's look at Asvine. Okay? Asvine. And some of these companies are, the same, it's just changed names, but this is the Asvine. And just bear with me. This is the Asvine V126. Matte blue, because it comes in more than one color. The nib is a Asvine This is the fine. I mean, first of all, this fine looks like a medium between you and I and the four walls. Look at this. A little bit of feedback when I compare it to my Jinhao, but not much more. This is just a finish, and if I try to look at that, I mean, guys, German nibs, if I were them, I'd really start to worry, because these pens are just absolutely fabulous. And they don't cost me $250. The nib doesn't cost me $25. It barely costs me a few dollars, and I get the nib and the pen. I mean, you know, with all due respect, this is the Asvine. Again, just bear with me a second, because I forget the numbers. V169. It's the skeleton model, and it's matte, and it's the matte black, because there's, again, more than one color. The nib is the Asvine. It's a medium nib. I gotta tell you, between the fine and the medium, this has got to be a mistake, the other one, because it's the same nib. So it's either my mistake, or when I bought it, it had that mistake. This is just a light flicker. This is if I put some pressure on it. I mean, Jowo, here we come. This is just fabulous. You know, I wanted to review each pen, and I figured, well, you know, it's a Chinese pen. People are not interested, but so I'll review them more than one. But you know what? I think I'm going to do individual reviews, because these pens deserve to be talked about. I'm sorry, but they deserve to be talked about. Okay, this is the Fuliwen. Fuliwen always been some of my favorite Chinese pens. I mean, take a look at this medium nib. It writes almost like a double broad. This is the 017, and I believe they call this the purple green pen. The other versions have names, but not this one. The nib is a Fuliwen And they say it's a medium. Yeah, they say it's a medium, but I really don't know if it is or if it isn't, because it writes like a broad. There it is, Fuliwen Medium. Smooth, smooth, smooth. There's a light flicker. And this is if I put some pressure. And wet. Wet, 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 wet. I got my fingers full of ink here. I mean, this is just fabulous. I'm glad I did this. You know, where all you do is concentrate on the nib. Really, really, really nice stuff. Some really, really nice stuff. I mean, okay, I think I'm going to get, eventually I'm going to have to, you know, get stumped here. Something's got to go here. Something's got to give, I should say. Okay, this is the Hongdian and this one is the, just bear with me, I wrote them all down. My apologies. This is the 960. Yellow resin. And the nib is a Hongdian Fine. A little more feedback on this one, but it's also a question. I've put in it. It's also a question of the ink. Okay, the ink may not be the wettest, but having said that, this has more feedback. But I'm sure that if I play around with this nib, it'll be just as smooth as the other ones. And you say, well, yeah, but you got to play around. Yeah, I got to play around, but you know what? I had to play around with Leonardo Officina Italiana nibs. And you know, they're going for $30, $40 Canadian. So it's not an excuse. Still wet. I mean, look at this one. How wet it is. Constant. Not a skip. I'm not skipping one skip. And this is with a light ink. And look at the pen. I mean, the pen is not, you know, it's a nice pen. It's a nice resin. Okay, it's not a Brooks primary manipulation, but, you know, a Leonardo, I wanted to buy the Brooks primary manipulation 1 Leonardo. It cost me $700 Canadian. This pen cost me $25. I mean, guys, this is a Kaigelu. By the way, the Kaigelu, you won't see it in my video because I didn't realize Kaigelu was made in Taiwan. So let's look at this one. This is the new Kaigelu. Look at this. I mean, this is the 316A, and this is the green swirl. Because again, come in different colors. The nib, it's a Kaigelu, and it says medium on it, but this thing writes like a double broad. I mean, if I take out my Mont Blanc double broad, I think this is thicker. If I take out my Kilk epigram, this is thicker. And smooth. Talk about smooth. I mean, look at this. Look how smooth this is. I mean, this is a gusher, okay? This is going to ink up my fingers like you wouldn't believe. Look at this. It goes right to the end of the page. I mean, look at the ink that's coming out of this thing. I mean, guys. This is just absolutely fabulous. After this exercise, I'm going to go on the internet and buy myself a few. I mean, then I'll take the nibs and put them elsewhere. I mean, you know, the nib and the pen costs me less than a Jowo or Bock nib. What can I say? Okay, let me get to the next page and I'll be right back and clean my fingers. Okay, I didn't have time to clean my fingers, but at least I had to give the ink some time to dry. It was so wet. Okay, this is the Majohn. I love this pen, by the way. This is the Majohn, or Moonman if you prefer, C4 demonstrator. I mean, this pen, I'm going to review these pens. I have to. I just have to because they're just fabulous pens. This Majohn looks like a Montblanc 149, probably has the same girth, if you will, but it's got a nice interior filling mechanism similar to the demonstrator Opus 88, where you've got you leave a little space there so that the ink goes through, and you can lock it, for example, if you're on a plane. And I love that little touch with that little clip. Anyway, we're going to review this pen. Okay, so the nib. The nib is supposed to be a Majohn Medium. But, if I take out binders line, I bet you this is a broad. And this is with an ink that's fairly dry. I mean, I would have put Irishusuko, that really red Buddha. I forget the name. Oh my God! I mean, it would have just leaked right through the paper. I mean, it would have been so wet. So with this dry ink, still look. I mean, that's a dry ink. Take a look at it, okay? And it still performs and outperforms. You know what the things that I don't like about these Chinese pens? The pen shapes are nice. Yes, some of them copy. It's the converters. If they would spend a little more money, quality control on the converters, and make them decent converters, my God. The converters sometimes don't suck up enough ink. That's the problem. Okay, this is a Penbbs. This is the 260. 1 second. 260. 2 or 5? 266. Okay, so this is the Penbbs 266 brown checker. You know what? I'm going to cap this because it's very, very small and light. Nib, not used to this kind of small pen. So it's a Penbbs medium nib. And here you can see that this is much thinner. The Penbbs nibs are, even the medium I think is a fine, and the fine are probably extra fine. But a little more feedback, just because you're getting into the fine category. That's why. Very wet. The line is just fabulous. Constant, even with a drier ink or even with a thinner nib. This is the Jinhao Centennial. Jinhao Centennial, And there are various, this one's the blue ivory. The nib on this thing is the Jinhao. Now we have to distinguish. This is number 6, and I believe this is a fine. Folks, I'm not sure. I think it's a medium. A little bit of feedback, but not much. Good feedback, if you know what I mean. Very wet. Not a problem, folks. So far, there's not one nib that I've tested, okay, that heart started on me. Not one. And I remember spending hundreds of dollars on a Leonardo Ficina Italiana, which, don't get me wrong, are amongst my favorite pens. Right at the outset, they were using Bock nibs. Remember the early versions? And those nibs were an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. This is the Kaigelu 316. It's the older model, which was very heavy and probably a lot of metal in here. And this is the gray swirl. The nib is a Kaigelu. I think they call this a fine, but you know, it's writing like almost broad. Very nice. Look at this. This is thin. This is thicker. Very wet. And the lines. Whoop. There you go. Got to tell you, that's it. That's it. Let me come back and we'll finish up and we'll conclude. Okay, I'm back. I just wanted to get a different lens on my camera so you can take a look at all of them. I mean, folks, I don't know what to say. I'm just repeating myself, I know, but these nibs have really, really surprised me. The new Jinhao number 8 nibs are just, you know, I'm going to order a bunch of them, I got to tell you. The Majohn Stub 1.1, wet gusher, smooth. I mean, it goes on like butter. The Asvine pens have this beautiful, you know, medium nib. The Fuliwen have always had very fine medium nibs, frankly. They haven't changed. Even the Hongdian, look at the fine nib. Look how wet that was. And the Kaigelu 316A, I mean, this medium nib writes like a triple broad almost. The Majohn, the C4 with that Majohn Medium nib, very, very nice. I got to tell you, the Penbbs 266 medium nibs, little scratch here, a little more feedback. Same thing with my Jinhao number 6 medium nib, and then the Kaigelu Fine nib writes like a medium. So there you have it. I hope, folks, that you really try these pens, pay particular attention to the nibs, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised. That's it for me, folks. Have a great night. Please subscribe. If you have any comments, don't hesitate. Thank you very much.